everybody, I'm Bree the Plant Lady, coming to you with my top 5 plants for the month of September, right here from my Zone 7 Central North Carolina garden. Now I've been walking around and it's actually really hard to make a choice, but my first stop has to be this Queenie Lime Orange Zinnia. Let me turn the camera around and give you an up-close view. I love zinnias. I love all zinnias, but I'm just gonna go ahead and say Queenie Lime Orange is the most fantastic zinnia I've ever grown. First of all, I want you to know how clean the foliage is. Now, sure, grasshoppers have been eating the leaves, but that's no big deal. But look at these enormous, fully double flowers. And look, this is one plant. That is one plant with all of that branching and all of those blooms coming from a single seed that was direct sown on July 15th by the Hort Science Camp. A bunch of 15 to 17-year-olds planted this entire bed, including the Queenie Lime Orange Zinnia seed that has been blooming now for over a month, looking absolutely fantastic. And well, look at all the flower buds that are still going to come. I mean, this is just going to keep going until we have a hard frost. So there's a whole series of these, and I'm growing other varieties, but I have to say, I think Queenie Lime Orange is my absolute favorite. Now, planted right around the corner, seeded on the same day, July 15th, is this red Soba Buckwheat, which I just think is the most extraordinary plant. I mean, look at how beautiful these flowers are. And all day long, there's pollinator activity. And this has taken literally no effort whatsoever. Not only are the flowers pretty, look at the beautiful burgundy stems. I love buckwheats in general. They're a really important cover crop because all of that material, that material when it breaks down, adds really important organic matter to your soil. I grow a lot of white buckwheat, but I have to say, when you have the option, pink is really quite extraordinary. My next top pick has to be this self-sowing Kufia that I bought as a 4-pack from Big Bloomers maybe 3 years ago. And it's been self-sowing ever since. Now, I'm a little annoyed in that I can't actually find the botanical information about this plant online, but it's just one of those plants that I would never want to live without. And I think all of you would also want it, especially considering I bought it once and then year after year, it just does this on its own, not coming back from the plant, but actually self-sowing in this sort of perfect uniform space just to fill in this gap. Let me turn the camera around and give you a closer view. Kufia, there's so many different species, and it's definitely a plant that everybody should be growing. Sometimes they call this the Mickey Mouse plant, and you can kind of see why. It kind of looks like flowers have mouse ears and like an elongated face. This isn't the traditional one that's called the Mickey Mouse plant. I didn't find that this year, but I guess I didn't need to because this plant just did its job and came back without me trying to do anything whatsoever. And I definitely want to encourage that behavior. I've never actually collected Kufia seed before, but I'm actually pretty curious that maybe I will try this fall, just because I would love to be able to share this plant with other people. Obviously, just like the last two selections, the zinnia and the buckwheat, better in more sun than shade, moist, well-draining soil. Yeah, you won't be disappointed. Here's another Kufia, and this will probably be my October pick, but this is what they call the candy corn Kufia. And you can see why it looks like candy corn. And I anticipated this not being hardy, but here we are 8 years later, and it gets bigger and bigger every year. But this one really flowers with short days, whereas that awesome red Kufia over there in the corner, that has actually been blooming all summer long. My next top pick for September absolutely has to be Cali Carpa Americana Welch's Pink. This was a sport that my friend Matt Welch actually found and named. Typically, Cali Carpa Americana has really dark sort of burgundy berries, whereas Welch's Pink is this gorgeous soft color, and it colors up significantly earlier than the straight species. Now, as you can see, Cali Carpa gets some size. You can compare it to Reggie there. I've never cut this one back. You certainly could, but I prefer to grow shrubs and just let them do what they want to do. Really interesting thing about Cali Carpa is the foliage actually has like a natural insecticide quality where, like, if you rub the leaves on you, it'll help keep mosquitoes away. Unfortunately, scientists haven't been able to figure out how to stabilize this chemistry into a spray. But so a lot of times what I will recommend to people is that they just come and, you know, collect a few leaves off of it. And as they walk around the garden, you just crush them in your hand and then rub them on your skin and clothing. You can see the berries are plump and beautiful. And of course the birds love to eat them. And this is just an all-time favorite plant of mine, a great native to include into your sunny to part sun borders. Well, my top pick for the month of September has to be the amazingly fragrant tea olive. Now, what I have behind me here is actually Osmanthus fragrans variety Aurantiacus. And everywhere in the yard, you can smell this right now. It is the most extraordinary scent. If you've not had the pleasure of smelling this, you need to plan a trip to the southeast in the autumn season, because osmanthus are one of the most common plants that people use for screening. It's an ideal shrub to put in between houses because it doesn't grow as large as like a giant conifer. And of course you get the added bonus of fragrant blooms with broadleaf evergreen screening. You see, you can't see through this one bit. Traditional osmanthus fragrans actually have white flowers. I like to collect weirdo plants, so that's why I like this one, because it's orange. The scent really does smell a bit like maybe a fresh apricot, and it just hangs in the air, and it's just the most delightful scent. And as you can see, only this one side is blooming right now, which is great, because that means that the other side of the bush will actually bloom over a period of weeks, and it'll just, you know, continue to put out this intoxicating fragrance. Now, I mentioned that it is ideal for screening, suburban screening especially, and this was actually a border of all Leyland Cypress. Back in 2016, Hurricane Matthew knocked down all the cypress, which was really quite a relief. And I'm so pleased with how the screen has filled in. I don't need 60-foot tall conifers between two one-story houses, but it is nice to have the privacy so that when we're out on the back porch, you know, and you don't necessarily look like you're spying on your neighbors. Now, osmanthus do really well in full sun, but you can actually grow them in part shade. They just might not bloom quite as well. And they are hardy zones 7 through 9. I don't think osmanthus fragrans would be reliable in zone 6. Well, I hope you'll be inspired to include some of these plants in your garden, and I look forward to sharing another top 5 list of plants next month in October. In the meantime, please give me a like, share this video with your friends, and be sure to subscribe to the Breathe a Plant Lady YouTube channel for more practical gardening advice right here from my Zone 7 Central North Carolina garden. Thanks so much for watching, everybody.